Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. And my name is Dan, and today we are doing my Game Week 6 team selection video and scores from last week and transfers for this game week and captaincy for this game week as well that I'm doing. This video is not intended as FPL advice, as I always say. It's just what I'm doing with my team. So enjoy the schadenfreude of last game week scores. We're going to have a look at them first. If you do enjoy this video, or you just want to throw some Fs my way, Fs in the chat, boys, then please do leave a like. Please do subscribe if you're new around here as well. Let's get on with it. Alright, let's start off with my Game Week 5 scores, and it was another week without Haaland, another week punished without Haaland. It seems like the bet I made, I guess, to go with Kane over Haaland at the beginning of the season is very much a damaging one. I essentially had to go into this game week with a 17-point disadvantage, even more if you consider captaincy as well. But although it's been a punishing one to not have Haaland, I feel like I can't be too upset that I've gone into this game week, you know, with that disadvantage and somehow come away with a green arrow. So things could have been a lot worse, and I think that tells me, I think that when I have Haaland in my team eventually, because obviously we do need to get him into this team because he's just an absolute machine, the rest of my team is probably not so bad. Now, obviously the rank is not ideal. It really isn't ideal. I'm not too happy with it, but at the same time, like I said before, I'm presented with a new challenge this year where I've got to kind of climb up the ranks and you know, come back and make a nice comeback, and I think I can do it. I do have enough confidence in my ability as an FPL manager where I can come back from this. I'm certainly not writing myself off, and I don't think anyone should be writing themselves off. There will always be far better managers than all of us in worse situations other than that one manager, basically. There's always someone worse off who is, you know, undeservedly worse off. So I'm not going to be like upset about it. There's no point in really being upset about it. The rest of my team I'm still very happy with. I think I can fix this. And when I fix, like, just that, as soon as I have Haaland in my team, basically, I feel like that's it. I think that's the one missing piece of the puzzle, really. And then we can just fly up from there, fly up the ranks. We'll go to, you know, 1 million rank, which I think is only like 20 points now, maybe even less than 20 points ahead of me. You know, I don't think it's that much of a challenge. I mean, it is obviously a challenge, but it's not too much that I can't handle it. So I'm willing to take on the challenge. I accept the challenge, and we're going to try and do something about this and try and finish with a very respectable finish by Game Week 38. We've still got so long to go until Game Week 38. 33 game weeks left. Let's see how we're going to make a start / continue to this start of the season, I guess. Okay, so a good situation is that we do have 2 free transfers, so that is good. We do go into this next game week with a little bit of an advantage, so that's nice. That's nice to see. Let's go through all of my players, and then I'm going to tell you what transfers I'm going to make and captaincy as well. So let's start off with goal with Raya. Another unlucky one for him last game week. He really should have kept a clean sheet, and if he did keep a clean sheet, I think he was on for like a 9 or a 10 pointer, but Zaha scored like an absolute peach of a finish that did go past Raya, and you know, it's just one of those little moments that you were like, if that didn't happen, but hey, that's football, that's FPL. I'm still seeing a lot from Raya that I like. Every week I say this because every week Raya makes so many saves and he does so well on the bonus point system that it's just good. Like, their points are coming, and even the game weeks where he doesn't keep a clean sheet, he does seem to be picking up a few points, which is better than nothing, I suppose. We got up in defence next, Trent Alexander-Arnold up against Everton next. You would say that these next 2 fixtures are good for Liverpool's defence, but at the same time, Liverpool's defence in general haven't been that great. Trent, I still think, is a very good pick. I still think he is creating a lot, so that is very positive to see. So I do think Trent is still worth his money. We only have to go back to game week 4 where we saw Trent's absolutely wonder score. What was it, 17 points, something like that. So yeah, he's still well able to do those kind of things, and I wouldn't be totally surprised if he did that again in this Everton or Wolves game. All it's going to take is a clean sheet, really, and you know, maybe 1 attack in return, which you wouldn't put past him. It's a weird one with Liverpool. They've got a good result, and then they've got a grinded out win in a row. Is that what Liverpool need as the impetus to kind of kickstart their season? They can't drop any more points, otherwise City are just going to run away with the league title. I think it's I think this could be a good couple of game weeks for Liverpool, certainly better than the first few, but maybe I'm being a little bit optimistic there. Let's see. Robertson, let me be honest, I'm not totally happy with the fact that I've doubled up on the Liverpool defence anymore. Like, Liverpool's defence just have not been the one, haven't they? Like, at all. Like, even this Everton game away, I feel like there is potential for Everton to score against Liverpool, even though Everton don't even really have any strikers at the moment. You would still kind of think that in that derby game that maybe Liverpool would concede a goal. You know, they're conceding the first goal a lot of the time as well, which is just not helping at all. So Robertson is a little bit worrying. Well, it's more the double up is a little bit worrying. Even though I do like these fixtures on paper, the Wolves game is the one I'm more concerned about. Do I want to keep my Liverpool defenders for that Wolves game, or do I just get rid now? The other situation is that maybe Robertson does get rotated. We're seeing over and over again that Tsimikas has come on the pitch after Robertson is being substituted off reasonably early in games. So maybe when a lot of these fixtures are building up, maybe Robertson actually gets a rest this game week, and maybe Tsimikas plays, and then Robertson is back in for the Champions League. You know, a game week 7. I'm not sure. I think there is potential for Robertson to get rotated. So a few concerns about Robertson, more so than Trent, I would say. And Robertson is just not providing the same underlying numbers as Trent and not providing value for money. Like 6.8 is a lot of money for a defender. So that's the concern there. On to Cancelo next, who, you know, a player who everyone sold last game week for some reason, you know, really doubted him. And yeah, he came away with 12 points, but just shows what Cancelo can do. Another good fixture against Aston Villa. You would hope that Man City can keep a clean sheet there, and then you got your nice 6 points. After that, bonus points potential, but obviously we are hoping really for Cancelo to get those goals and assists. He's got a couple of attacking returns so far, perhaps a little bit fluky, but he's Cancelo at the end of the day. We know what he's got in his locker, so you can say, oh, he's got lucky to get the returns that he has done. And I do think there is some truth in that. You know, at the end of the day, it's Cancelo. You can't really bet against him too much, can you? And finally, we're going to finish off the game week with Reece James, another player who's being mass sold this week. So in game week 4, we had Trent. Everyone sold him. He got 17 points. In game week 5, we had Cancelo. Everyone sold him, and he got 12 points. This week is Reece James. The same people are selling him again. He's got like 500,000, maybe even more transfers out already, just because he has that little triangle next to his name with the exclamation mark. You know, the Dorito of death next to his name on the FPL app, saying that he's ill. But we know he's back in training. We know he's doing media stuff. We know that he's probably, you know, for everything we can see, is available for the weekend. So he is going to be playing. West Ham have not looked great from an attacking point of view. Even that game against Spurs, I think Spurs made it very easy for West Ham. And West Ham in general have been pretty disappointed. So if Chelsea are going to finally keep a clean sheet, it should be this game week. And I think Reece James should move, finally should move to the right wing back position. I'm praying, because as soon as that happens, we're just going to unlock these huge points potentials from James. We're going to see huge point scores. We're going to see him get 15 pointers on the regular. So I'm hoping that's going to be happening this game week. I think this could be the one. If not, you know, Fulham after that, I think there's some really good things to come from Reece James. He's probably the defender, out of all my defenders that I have in my team, he's the one I'm the most excited about, and probably the defender I'm most excited about in FPL in general, because Liverpool defenders kind of been a bit disappointing. Cancelo, yes, he gets the clean sheet, but he hasn't been putting in the attacking numbers that I'd hoped he would do, even though he has got returns. But James, you just know that he has huge potential to go absolutely nuclear. Let's go into midfield. We've got Salah first of all. Game against Everton. Again, like, I know people are kind of doubtful about Salah at the moment, but he is getting results. He got 2 assists. He got a 10-pointer last game week. Now, I know compared to some players, not naming names, but Erling Haaland, obviously Haaland scored a little bit more than Salah, but like, are we really going to turn our nose up at a 10-pointer? I think that's a really decent return. And if you got that every game week, you would absolutely, like, that would be like the best ever FPL score across the whole season ever. So it's a good return. It's genuinely a decent return. Unlucky the game week before that against Bournemouth to not getting more returns. And then before that again, he got, you know, another haul. So Salah is actually doing pretty well, I would say, and is definitely a captain option for this game week against Everton, who are a team that are typically one of the weaker teams in the league, aren't they? So Salah, still very confident about, I say very confident, I'm still pretty confident. I'm no longer in the camp of Salah is an absolute must-have. But I would still say that he is a phenomenal FPL asset to have. Like, particularly if you're not comparing him to other players too much. I think he's still phenomenal and still a very good captain option as well. Next player is Rodrigo, who we have had the unfortunate news that Rodrigo is going to be out for as many as 4 weeks with this with this shoulder injury that he sustained in game week 5. So really disappointing. I know a lot of people just brought in Rodrigo for this run of fixtures, but unfortunately he is injured. So that's going to have to be an L taken, and we're all going to have to transfer out Rodrigo. He's going to be out for too many game weeks to be worth keeping him in. He's going to be out until, you know, after the international break. So certainly that's going to be wildcard territory anyway. So if you want to bring Rodrigo back in using your wildcard a bit later, then that's fair enough. But right now, it's just not worth keeping him in my opinion. There's a lot of midfielders that we perhaps might want to go for. Rodrigo's going to have to be sold. So I will tell you now, guys, that Rodrigo will be one of the players that I will be selling in this game. We've got 2 free transfers, obviously, so we are going to be making multiple moves, but Rodrigo is going to be sold. So yeah, he's in there for now. Martinelli up next. If you haven't got Martinelli, he could be your Rodrigo placement, to be fair. So yeah, Martinelli in really good form. Still another goal last game week. 10 pointers, in fact, last game week. This game against Manchester United, I'm not totally sure. Like, having watched Manchester United last game week, I wondered if they did kind of irk out another clean sheet. Like 2 clean sheets in 3 game weeks, is it? So that's not too bad for Manchester United, really. Are we going to see a slight improvement from them? It's an away game as well. But at the same time, Arsenal's form is just so good that you'd think that maybe they can still get a decent result. And as always, if there's going to be goals coming from Arsenal, it's going to be between 2 men, and those 2 men are Martinelli and Jesus. You back both of those guys to get the attacking returns in a game like this. So that's something that I would definitely be keeping an eye on. Martinelli, at the price he is, definitely very, very happy to keep him for a little bit while longer, I would say. So yeah, thumbs up for Martinelli. Let's move on to Pascal Gross, an absolute legend of FPL this season. Like, I can't believe how many people own him now. He went from like being like the most obscure player, like nobody in the entirety of FPL had Pascal Gross in game week 1. Well, I say nobody, very few people, but then suddenly he just rockets up, absolutely rockets up, and you know, suddenly he's playing really well, and like he's the main attacking threat for Brighton right now. He's playing in really attacking area, playing as basically a second striker. And these next 2 fixtures, Leicester at home and Bournemouth, 2 of the weakest defences in the league. I mean, Leicester last night, they didn't even play with, you know, 2 centre-backs. They played Ndidi at centre-back. So it was really kind of a bit of a dodgy situation for Leicester. And Leicester are just kind of, like, no offence Leicester fans, but Leicester just seems so muddied at the moment. They really do. It's just not looking good. So you do fancy Brighton, a team who are in very good form at the moment, to go and do something there, to be honest, to go and score a couple of goals. And Pascal Gross is probably going to be the one to either score the goals or provide the goals as well, because his creative numbers are incredible. And I can't believe the flicks and tricks that Pascal Gross is doing right now. I feel like he is the second, he's like somehow morphed into Ronaldinho. So we're going to call him Grossaldinho from now on. Grossaldinho. He is the one who's going to score us a bunch of points in the next couple of game weeks. Moving up front, we've got Harry Kane, the player who is playing well, but still getting absolute pelters because he's not playing as good as Erling Haaland. That is a fact. That is just a plain old fact. In fact, I was checking out some stats on the Fantasy Football Hub Opta stats tool earlier today, just to see how does Kane rank. You know, how much, like, is, like, obviously he is worth sacrificing for Haaland, but is he still an option? Is he a player that actually maybe we should try and fit him and Haaland into the team? Like, how many strikers can we have? I wish we could have 4 at this point, which is something I wouldn't be saying last season. But I do feel like Kane, his underlying stats are actually really good. He's kind of 3rd for expected goals per game, which is very, very high. Like, he's only behind Haaland and Mitrovic out of all players in the Premier League for expected goals. His expected assists are very high as well. I think he's accumulated something like 2 expected assists, or over 2 expected assists so far this season, which obviously he hasn't got 2 assists yet. He's just got the 1. So like, his creative numbers are really good as well. So Kane, as bad as he's been in comparison to Haaland and maybe even Mitrovic, in actual numbers, in actual real life terms, like, when you look at him individually, he's been pretty good. And this game is against Fulham, who you'd expect to concede a goal or 2. And therefore, you'd expect Kane to be involved in those goals because, obviously, Son is not in the greatest form at the moment. I think Son could even be rotated with Richarlison. And if that does happen, I think that's going to benefit Kane a lot because of Richarlison's work rate. That could really benefit Kane. So I'm really kind of questioning, can I somehow keep Kane and have Haaland? Can I have my cake and eat it too? Can I have my Kane and eat it too? That sounds a bit weird, but you get my point. I just kind of kind of fancy him for this game week in a way. That Leicester game at home as well, kind of fancy him for that one. But you know, I may not have a choice, to be fair. Like, he may just have to go just to keep with the crowd in many ways. And finally, we've got Jesus up front, Manchester United away, same situation as Martinelli. Again, if someone's going to score in this game, if Arsenal come away from that game with a couple of goals, it's going to be Martinelli and Jesus. I don't think Arsenal will keep a clean sheet in this game necessarily, but I wonder if this could be a really fiery game with two teams with a lot to prove at the moment, and maybe could be a really, really thrilling contest, and hopefully a few goals in it as well. So that's kind of what I'm hoping, because I don't have any Arsenal defence. I hope that it will be a bit of a goal fest, and those Arsenal attackers can really, really do the business. So that would be really good. But obviously, with Jesus, everyone kind of owns him anyway. So, like, if he scores well, who cares? You own Jesus just to keep with the crowd. Similar with Haaland, you own him just to keep with the crowd. You can't really get anywhere with Haaland unless you captain him. Same situation with Jesus. You're not actually going to get an advantage over anyone. Let's go to the bench quickly before we make our transfer. So we got Ward, the player who it will be forever on my bench. He will not be moving from there, given Leicester's defence. Andreas against Spurs. You know, not really worth considering this game week, I don't think, even though he has been playing very well. Patterson against Liverpool, no chance whatsoever. I think Liverpool will score a couple of goals in that game. And then Archer against Man City, who won't start anyway, and he plays Man City, so not really worth thinking about too much. By the way, Archer dropped down to 4.4 million this week. Really disappointed about that. Didn't see that one coming. Yeah, a little bit less team value for no apparent reason, but oh well, we moved. That's one of the things in life. Right, so guys, basically from here I have two decisions. Well, a decision to make, and that's whether we go for Haaland now or we go for him in game week 7. That is my decision. And by the way, guys, this is a big part of why I say that these videos are not FPL advice. This is very much what I want to do, my own risks that I want to take, and I do not want to impose them on anyone else. And I am going to tell you right now that I am going to be keeping Kane for one last game week. And I know people are going to hate that. This is what I'm saying. If you don't agree with that, don't do it yourself. You don't have to do what I do. And just because I'm doing something doesn't necessarily mean it's right, doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. But I'm in a situation where I have to take a few risks, right? And the risk that I'm going to take this week is that Haaland gets benched. Now, I'm not saying that Haaland is going to get benched. I would say the chances of Haaland getting benched this week are roughly about 40% he gets benched, 60% he starts, and even when if he does come and get some minutes off the bench, I still think he could potentially get a goal in that time. But I do prefer, whether it's Haaland benched versus Kane starting 90 minutes against Fulham, I do prefer Kane, especially given that his underlying stats are very good. He is still performing very well when you look at him individually, and that's what I'm trying to do, kind of narrow it down, think individually. So the bet I'm going to take, I don't know if it's going to pay off or not. These are the kind of risks you have to take sometimes when your rank is slightly lower. Sometimes you want to take a risk, try and do something a little bit different, try and beat the system in a way. The bet I'm going to be making is that Haaland does get benched against Aston Villa. Kane gets 90 minutes and gets a better score, and then I just hold off one more game week before making that switch. That is the move that I'm going to be making there. It's a bold one, don't get me wrong, but you know, fortune favours the brave. You do have, if you want to really make it in FPL, you do have to take a couple of risks and hope that luck is on your side. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to hope that luck is going to be on my side this game week. It is possible. It is very, very possible. But you know, if you disagree, like I say, don't do as I do. That is basically. And anyway, if I wanted to get Haaland in, the other reason, I'm not so keen of it. If I wanted to get Haaland in, it would involve downgrading Rodrigo to someone worth around 6.3 million or less, or maybe taking a -4, which I could do, to be fair. But I'm not really that bothered about doing that. I feel like I could do better with the transfers that I've got. Assuming that I think Haaland is going to be benched, or I think there's a good chance of him being benched, I'm not going to captain him, even if I bring him in, because of the chance of him being benched. I may as well try and just use my two transfers very effectively and reassess next week, making sure I've got enough money in the bank next week to make the move. It makes sense, right? In my head, as a risk, as a bet, I guess. But anyway, so the transfer moves I'm thinking, well, obviously we've got to get rid of Rodrigo, and I have to sacrifice one more player because I want to upgrade Rodrigo. I'm not convinced with anyone really around Rodrigo's price other than Martinelli and Pascal Gross. The other players that are very close to Rodrigo's price, I'm not convinced enough by it. So I'm going to have to upgrade Rodrigo, basically. I need to find some money somewhere, and the only player that I'm looking through this team, the only player I'd be willing to sacrifice, and I'm not even, you know, it's not even that I hate him, but Robertson is the player I'm willing to sacrifice. So this is what I'm proposing, guys. A downgrade from Robertson to Estepinian, who is a bit of a differential. That will allow me to upgrade Rodrigo to Luis Diaz against Everton, which I think is a fairly decent punt to take, really. I mean, we all know Luis Diaz is a very good football player, and I thought he played reasonably well against Newcastle as well, getting some decent chances to score. So yeah, that's kind of what things will look like. We've got, obviously, a decent midfielder in, and I do genuinely like Estepinian a lot. You may have heard me speak about him a little bit already. He's playing as a very advanced left winger. Obviously, last game where he won a penalty, actually. So him winning the penalty gave him some assist points. He's looking very attacking. He's creating a lot. So he's, you know, this is good. There's good attacking numbers in the limited amount of times he's played. Brighton are obviously really good for clean sheets at the moment, looking very, very good defensively. And look at these next two fixtures, Leicester and Bournemouth. So not only are these going to be opportunities for clean sheets, but also these are two weak defences where we kind of want those attacking players. So it kind of makes sense in a way to find an attacking defender to attack these game weeks. And what a differential as well. Not many people are going to be thinking of this. Not many people are going to be going for this. So it's another risk, I guess. So this is kind of what I'm going to try and do, I think, certainly till we get to a better rank. Take some risks, have some fun, you know, place some bets in a way. This is what it is, really, isn't it? It's betting on players and thinking, can I find the next big thing? Can I beat the system in a way? So that's what I'm going to be trying to do. Let's see if it works out. Last season when I did this kind of strategy, it worked out really, really well. So I think that I hope that I have a keen enough eye to try and do something like this. Particularly with like differential picks like Estepinian. I think I have, you know, looking at a lot of stats, watching a lot of football, I think I'm hoping that I can pick up on a few gems. And I think for the next couple of game weeks before I wildcard, and I'm earmarking game week 8 for a wildcard, Estepinian for these next two fixtures looks really, really good. And obviously we've got Luis Diaz in there as well, which you would say is probably an upgrade on that midfield as well. So one more game week with Kane. The differential defender comes in, and Luis Diaz instead of Robertson, which, you know, in hindsight is what I should have done in the first place. So let's throw a captain's armband on Salah. He's the safe captain pick for the game week, isn't he? And I really do feel like people are kind of underrating him a little bit, just because, you know, it's all about comparisons, isn't it? When Haaland is doing what Haaland is doing, every other player in the whole Premier League looks bad, don't they, in a way? And we're going to put the vice captain on Kane as well, because I genuinely do think Kane could have a really good game week. Kane's numbers are actually better than Salah's as well, and arguably it's a better fixture, so perhaps there's reason to captain Kane, but I think that may be one risk too far for me, so perhaps not this time. But there we go, guys. That is what my team is going to look like. I think it's looking pretty good. I mean, the only thing that you would say that is like wrong about this team is not having Haaland, but if there's one game week to not have him, maybe it's this game week. Look, this is a risk I'm willing to take, and a risk I would never want to impose on you guys, but that's what my team is going to look like going into game week 6. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please do leave a like. Please do subscribe if you're new around here as well. Fantasy Football Hub link in the description. If you do want to go check out these Opta stats that I always go on about, the link to that is in the description. Yeah, actually, I think the link in the description is to get your team rated. So, you know, maybe you want to get your team rated. Maybe you want to look at some Opta stats. It's all on the Fantasy Football Hub website. Go check it out. We'll be doing a deadline stream, obviously, tomorrow on Saturday. And we're going to be doing also, at the same time, well, after, we're going to be doing a watch-along stream for the Liverpool versus Everton game. So hopefully a few of you guys will be around to join me for that as well. And that could be pretty interesting. My first ever watch-along stream. So, bit of an experiment. Let's see how it goes. But there we go, guys. That's the end of today's video. That's the end of the videos for the week, aside from the streams. Go check out some of the other videos I made for Game Week 6. There's a couple I released yesterday. Hope you do enjoy them. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching once again, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.